Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central CFL content for the fans, by the fans. And we got another re-signing here as Deonta McMahon, not a re-signing. He signs over, he was with Toronto, he signs over with Calgary. This was announced by the team, though, so we're able to chat about it.
He was released.
Yeah, that's what it was. And do we know if this is a 1 or 2 year deal? Because
it's a 1 year deal.
1 year deal? Okay, yeah, because it's not specified here on 3 down, so I wasn't sure. Signs a 1 year deal over with the Stampeders. He had been a running back with the Argonauts for kind of the last few years. And he'd kind of, it's funny, they'd kind of, the Argos had kind of played him a little bit everywhere. They played him some rushing yards. They'd played him receiving even a little bit, put him on return. Kind of, where do you see him kind of fitting in with Calgary? Do you see him kind of being a backup to Dedrick Mills, or?
I mean, he only got 130 receiving yards, so he's not really a receiver. I see him as like a backup to Dedrick Mills.
Yep.
Because obviously you're not going to play Mills, a full game every game.
Yeah.
Like, obviously the guy's going to need to take some rest.
Yep. Well, and even like again, like having backups is really important, because even just on different plays, being able to kind of offer a bit of a different look, you know, because at the end of the day, even if you think about it, if you're playing against Calgary and you're watching your film against a running game, you're watching Mills. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not a bad thing to swap it up. I even remember with Winnipeg when they had Johnny Augustine with Brady Oliveira, there had been times where like they'd throw Augustine on there. They'd play 2 running backs. They'd pull Chris Ike off. You know what I mean? And they would kind of just to kind of switch it up a little bit. And even times where Oliveira was pulled off and Augustine ran a play or two, especially with them being just 2 different styles. You know what I mean? So having a backup running back, like I think a backup running back will see the field more than some other backup positions, depending on what it is. You know what I mean? Certainly more than the backup quarterback, provided there's not an injury. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, he's, and again, he's only 25 years old. He was born in Florida, went to McNeese State, and during his time in college, he had played 2 years of JUCO, and then 3 years FCS for McNeese State. And in his 3 years, he had, in terms of rushing yards, in his last year, he had 1,400 rushing yards for 12 touchdowns. And he had kind of grown dramatically over the course of those 3 years at McNeese, with him going from 189 rushing yards to 558 to 1,408 in 11 games, in which he only started 10 of those. So he kind of had that rapid improvement there. And then with the Argos, he's done okay, but again, he hasn't really had a massive, I'd say a huge role. He just kind of has had a little bit here, a little bit there, you know what I mean? And so I'm curious to see what kind of opportunity he gets in Calgary. As again, I think he has a resume for a guy that's really able to grow in a system when given the opportunity. I think the question is just how much opportunity he gets. And I think there is an advantage to having a guy who, like I mentioned, kind of played a little bit all over the place. Even if we go back to those college stats, even look at his receiving yards, not that he ever was really getting a ton in that, but in his last year, he had gotten like 2 touchdowns, receiving touchdowns, still over 200 yards receiving over the course of those games. Kick return, played a little bit in his last year with McNeese, and then punt return, didn't play punt return with McNeese. He did play some kick return though. So it's just kind of interesting to see how he's kind of found his way into a lot of different aspects of the game. And so I'm curious to see kind of where the future holds for him when he goes over to Calgary. But what was that clip you were saying? Like, are they now with Deonta McMahon? Are they going to have to rename McMahon Stadium?
No. So for what Carter's referencing is on YouTube, there's someone that I'm not going to mention names because I don't want their channel to be shut down. But they have the whole 2025 season. And I forget which, I think it was like the very first. Oh, you know what it was? it was last season, the very first week when Bo went back to Calgary, and they were talking about of how Deonta had changed his name from McMahon to McMahon. And
Yeah.
then Kate goes, "Well, are we going to now call it McMahon Stadium?"
Maybe now he's playing for the team now, so who knows?
That
Is
is
there
true. That is true.
but is there anything else you got there, Rick? I think that's pretty much
I mean, it
pretty
is
much
what it is. You know what? I was just looking. Oh, I put that as. Oh, yeah. So, just Calgary as a whole, um, they brought. So, Dante McMahon is actually not the only Toronto player that's come over this year. They actually, I was just looking at their roster because I was adding some people. There's actually one more player coming over from Toronto, which we'll have a video for it later on. But it's going to be interesting to see how well. Like I don't know if Dominic Grimes is going to end up back up in Calgary.
yeah.
But you got to remember, Reggie Begelton was injured most of the last season, and he's coming back. So that's someone's picking up an extra player there. But
Yeah.
that's for a different day. But
For a
other than
different
that,
day.
you know what? I would not be shocked if Dante McMahon had more rushing yards
Yeah.
with Calgary than he had with Toronto.
Yeah. No, I
Because
think given a bigger opportunity.
A wise man once told me, and this is coming from Carter,
Oh, okay.
the running back will only have as good a success as their offensive line will allow them to. Which means
I shouldn't. I wouldn't say always, but I would say the offensive line plays a big role in it. It absolutely does.
No, but I mean, if your offensive line isn't going to open up slots for your protection, your running back's not going to.
There's not much that they can do. Yeah, no, that's true. No, so, but I think that's pretty much all I had. Unless there was anything else you had there, Rick.
Nope.
But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys leave a like, share it around, and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you guys haven't, make sure you guys join our Discord. Link in the description below to our Discord. And if there's any problems with the link, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll make sure I get it all fixed so you can join our Discord. And before we get going, Rick is going to be live streaming on February 10th over on Hamilton Sports Central for CFL free agency. Rick?
Yes, sir. We're going to be announcing all of these stressful week signings of the tampering window. It's funny. I was looking today. So all the signings happen day 1 and day 2. Everyone on social media is like what happened this past week? Like these last few days, like there's absolutely nothing. But if you look at the free agent list, like there's a whole bunch of players there. So don't forget to come check out our live streams as we'll announce more signings than just the ones that have already been announced. I've just added some more retired players into the retired tab, so we'll be able to look at that. The draft class, the coaching staff, each team's predictions on what their roster is going to look like, as in like what players are signed so far. And let me tell you, looking at BC, they have 14 defensive linemen signed already.
Well,
so that and so much more, and we'll have some guests. But do come by and watch our live stream.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys next time.